Hey guys, so today I'm going to be touching on all of the off-page SEO techniques. Two of the main ones that I'm going to be breaking down in just a minute is going to be link building and content marketing. And then in the authority building section, we're going to talk about local SEO, which is Google My Business and different citations, but also social media and the social media reviews and how that can kind of play into your authority building SEO strategy. But some of the different SEO techniques out there are link building, content marketing, guest posting, competitor links, social media, influencer marketing, brand mentions, online reviews, local SEO, and digital PR. And all of these things come together to help build up not only your online authority, but also in your local community as well. One of the things that I want to touch on is that I kind of mentioned a little bit earlier when we were talking about external links, but guest posting. That's where you are writing a blog post for another person's website, right? You want to kind of build up your external network and outside of your niche, but that still kind of like plays on the same authority. And I'll use a psychiatrist as an example. Like we've been using 7 tips to avoid stress a lot today. And inside of that, we had a segment about exercise. The way that you could guest post would be, as a psychiatrist, I want to connect with a personal trainer, right? Maybe somebody that has like a little bit of a following. They kind of have like a bigger online authority than you. And you could reach out to them and say, hey, I'm a psychiatrist in your local area. And I wrote this blog about ways exercise decreases stress or ways exercise improves your mental health. And then that way they would have it on their website and they would externally link to you. And that is a backlink. And what's mentioned on here as your competitor links. It's not necessarily a competitor, but it's a link that is going from somebody else's website to your website, and you in turn get to borrow their authority. And that's kind of the same thing when it comes to digital PR. If you are assisting online editorials with being the authority in the space, they will in turn link out to you inside of that article. Like if you were mentioned in Forbes, you kind of gave your expertise or just something that happened in your life that kind of made you into the person that you are today, but you kind of built up a reputation to where Forbes writers reach out to you, and then you give them your blurb, and then they put it in Forbes, and Forbes then links out to you. That's digital PR. That's positive press, but it's online. It's not in print material, so that way it helps build up your authority as well. And competitor links, I kind of talked about this, is backlinks. It's people from other websites, and they can be of other websites and higher authority. We'll touch on this a little bit later, but it's when other competitors and people in your niche and just other bigger brands, they link out to the content that you're posting. Those are all positive marks. It doesn't have anything to do with your on-page SEO because you wrote the content on page, right? These are all things that are happening off of the page that are in turn boosting up your authority. Social media, we're going to touch on in a later lesson. But as far as influencer marketing goes, it can be good for your business. But if you're taking my course and you're trying to bootstrap and understand your SEO, there's a lot of different places that I would spend money on, like different SEO softwares, or maybe doing digital PR instead of reaching out to influencers, unless you can find like maybe a micro influencer that you guys could collaborate and it wouldn't be as pricey. But just starting right out the gate without doing a lot of research, I would not jump into influencer marketing because there's not necessarily a return on investment that can be tracked. So I would rather do ads or PR or just do different SEO outreach techniques instead of influencer marketing at this stage within your business. And brand mentions can be very good for your business. They don't necessarily have to link out to you directly, but if some other website or company is just talking about you, it creates a buzz online, and just Google sees those as positive signals towards your brand. And so the more people that are talking about you, the more that Google sees that you are an authority in this space. And that's without even having them link to your site. Obviously, a link can be more important because those backlinks help boost that authority, but just having a brand mention online is also extremely helpful. Online reviews are great because they build up that know, like, and trust factor. So it helps your audience trust you a lot more, but also Google sees that as positive signals. And if you don't have just 5 stars across the board, that's okay because it makes you human. The way that I would do reviews, and I'm going to get into this in a little bit later, but make sure that you respond to every review. If you have a good review, respond and say thank you. If you have a bad review, you respond and you say, I'm so sorry for your experience. Like, what can we do to make it right? Because a lot of times people just kind of want to be seen and heard. And if you reach out to them externally, like, you can maybe kind of fix that bad review. And then sometimes people just leave bad reviews and they've never even been to your business. It's just kind of, it could be a competitor or something. And sometimes you can reach out to Google and they can make that go away. But if you don't have 5 stars across the board, but you have 4.5 stars, that makes you look human. People will still know, like, and trust you. It's not like you're sitting there with 2.5 stars. And there's different ways that you can get reviews going down the road. Which also brings me to local SEO. We're going to be talking about that in our authority building section, so I'm not going to go over that right now. But digital PR. This is, I'm not really talking about it in this course a ton, but just know that it's very important. I'll touch on it a little bit more when we're talking about backlinks, but digital PR can be very good for your business. You don't necessarily have to have a PR company to be able to get good press online, but you can, there are different tools that you can use to help build up your authority in that way. And help a reporter out is probably the #1 way that you can do digital PR. And that is, there's a list that comes out every day of reporters they have articles that are due. They technically usually have a fast turnaround time, but they're looking for authority matters on the subject. And so if you respond to them pretty quickly, sometimes you can get picked and then you can end up in authority building magazines. Like, you could sometimes end up in Forbes or Yahoo Finance, like Healthline. It just kind of wherever that writer is coming from and wherever it fits their narrative. And if you write a good enough piece and they're looking for your type of content specifically, then you can be featured in those digital PR magazines. And that's it for basically the major SEO techniques. Up next, we're going to be discussing in detail link building and the ways that can help with your off-page SEO. And I'll see you in the next video.